Hello and welcome to another episode of Jason's Porsche channel on a very chilly December day. In this video, we're going to be looking into a check engine light issue. In previous video, I had mentioned that I would possibly be buying a scanner, but then it occurred to me that I've had this car for over 4 years now, and this is the first check engine light that I've had. So, as most of you know, I am a Porsche owner on a budget. So I decided to go to my local auto parts store that offered free scanning and have them scan it. The guy came back and told me that it was an oxygen sensor. It probably needed to be replaced. So I came home and started doing some research. I don't even remember what the genuine Porsche oxygen sensor would cost. I usually use the better aftermarket brand, which in this case would be a Bosch. The Bosch ones cost $85 each. The Boxster has 4 of them. So yeah, that was kind of worrisome to spend that kind of money. But then as I did more research, I found out that sometimes the oxygen sensors are good. They're doing exactly what they're supposed to do. It's something upstream that is sending, too much oxygen or whatever down, and they're just giving the oxygen sensor is just giving a bad reading. So you may not need to replace them. You need to fix something upstream. Not knowing the maintenance history on this car, I decided that I probably need to clean the MAF sensor and the throttle body and possibly the air plenum. And so that's exactly what I did. So I went to my closest AutoZone where they will scan for check engine lights. Unfortunately, they were a little busy, so they just handed me the scanner and gave me some instructions. So first, of course, you need to plug the scanner into your OBD2 port. Then switch your key to on. Do not start the engine, just switch it to on, and the machine will automatically start scanning. Once it has retrieved all the information, then you switch your key back off, disconnect the scanner, take it inside. The guy plugged it into the computer. Unfortunately, my car being a little older, he had to manually input the VIN number and the mileage, but then he was able to print out a report with detailed information on what was going on with my car. So this is the printout from the scan from Fix Finder from AutoZone. Check engine light, of course, is on, so that's a fail. ABS is passed, that's nice to know. Emissions ready, no, because there's a check engine light on, but then again, my car is 25 years old, so I don't have to do emissions anymore. Service interval, that doesn't even apply really. So here's what I needed to know was I've got 2 codes. The primary code is a P1129, which is the O2 sensor for cylinders 4 through 6, which I believe is the passenger side on my car, or the right side. And then the secondary code is P1127, which is the left side, or cylinders 1 through 3 on my car. And battery voltage, it'll tell you as well. Battery's great, so good to know. So before I started disconnecting anything, I went ahead and used my air compressor and blew all the loose dirt and stuff out of the engine bay so I wouldn't get any dirt into the system. So the MAF sensor, you'll need a T20 security Torx. The Torx have a little pin that sticks up, so you'll have to have the Torx head with the hole that works on the pin. There's not a lot of torque to these screws, so they're pretty easy to get out. Now, unfortunately, the body panel is really in the way, so it's difficult to get a screwdriver onto that. So that I could get under the edge of the body and get to that left side Torx screw, I got an 1/8 inch ratchet drive with a 1/4 inch socket, and I just put my security Torx bit in there and actually taped it in so I didn't have to worry about it falling out into the car. So once you have the 2 screws removed, the MAF sensor actually pulls out very easily. And you can see here the wire and the red piece, that is your sensor. And it's not that dirty looking, but it is very sensitive, so I don't think it takes much to cause a problem. But I saturated it with the electronics cleaner, and then just let it dry, and that's all you need to do. And to clean the MAF sensor, I'm not going to buy any special MAF sensor cleaner. I already have some of this CRC electronics cleaner, and it should be safe enough for the MAF sensor. It's very gentle on electronics, dries without leaving any residue, and all you do really is just spray it on, and within a few seconds it's dry, and you can put it all back together. So unfortunately I didn't film the spraying of it, but once it's dry, you put it back in, and the wires leading into it will kind of line it up the direct way it goes, so you don't have to worry about putting it in backwards. But put the screws back in and snug them down. They're not tight at all. Next, you'll want to get started on the throttle body. The throttle cable, you can push up on the throttle lever itself and pull the cable out. It's got a little slot it slides out of. And then next, you're going to need to try to get this square plastic piece back through the square hole. Unfortunately, with the 25-year-old plastic, it's pretty brittle, so I'm not sure how I'm going to carefully try to mash the top and bottom to push it back through. First, I'm going to try to use an 8mm and take this bolt out so I can pull the cable back when I do get it mashed. I tried to get that bolt to come out, but it really wanted to stay, so I'm going to leave it. Now I tried with a pair of pliers and I actually cracked, I heard a cracking on the plastic, so now I'm just going to try a flathead screwdriver, and that seemed to have got it right there. There we go. Throttle cable out of the way. Yeah, they're cracked. But you see how it's at an angle? So when you put it back in when you're finished, you're going to want that angle to point down, because the cable's going to ride over the top of this little spring shield here to the throttle lever. To disconnect this hose, you're going to push down on the release, and then I'm using a flathead screwdriver to try to gently pry it back. And there we go, that wasn't that bad. And later on I realized that I'm going to have to completely remove this, but right now I'm going to try to get these 4 hose clamps out of the way. Just a flathead screwdriver, give each of them a turn. There's 2. 3 and 4. There's also a hose clamp on the air intake from the air box as it comes past the MAF sensor. You need to loosen that one as well. There's an electronic connection on the side. But honestly, it's going to be easier once I remove the that stiff plastic tubing. Same kind of locking mechanism, just push down and use the screwdriver to get it started, and then a little wiggle and off it comes and out of the way. I actually managed not to damage that plastic. Now there's a vacuum tube going into these rubber couplings on the plenum, so be careful with those. But you got to loosen this 10mm bolt that holds the air intake so you can get a little more wiggle room. And then underneath you'll see a nut, a 10mm nut that holds the bracket that goes up to the throttle body. This electronic connection here has a tab that you pull out carefully. And then wiggle, wiggle, and there it goes. Very nice. I'm going to go ahead and carefully try to get my flathead screwdriver underneath this rubber and get it loosened up some. And then just kind of manhandle it, get it wiggle. There it goes. It's wiggling back and forth now. About to break, and there we go. That'll make things a lot easier. Try to do the same thing on the left and right sides of the plenum. There's one side out.
One off, and now one more.
And then
there we go. One and two.
this thing fits tight. And you do have those vacuum tubes on both couplings, so be careful with those. They will unplug. Yeah, so this electric connection has a little spring that holds it in. There we go. Just popped it out with a flathead screwdriver. Carefully give it a little wiggle, and out it comes. On the other side, there's a tube that you'll need probably like a pair of slip joint pliers or channel locks to pull the spring up. And there you go. We're free. So here's a dirty, dirty throttle body and a very dirty air intake plenum. Kind of hard to tell in the video, but look at that. Nasty. 186,000 miles, and I don't know if this has ever been cleaned. But yeah, you can push the butterfly open. It's got a pretty stiff spring on it. And just like for the MAF sensor, I'm not going to go out and buy any special throttle body cleaner. I already have a can of WD-40, and that'll be good enough. I'll spray it down with this, and then I'll clean it with a lint-free shop towel and wipe it down really good so as not to leave any residue behind, because I don't want to attract any extra dirt to it. So a little shot of the WD-40, and then I actually have a new old new toothbrush. I think it was in a hotel room somewhere, and for whatever reason I brought it home. It's been sitting in a cabinet. I've never used it, so I got it to kind of make this cleaning a little more aggressive, I guess, but seemed to do a good job. And wipe, wipe, wipe. Already starting to look so much better. Now there are several small holes, I guess, that I really needed like a brush maybe that you would clean a reusable drinking straw with or something, because the toothbrush just really is too large to go in there. So I did the best job I possibly could, but it's not like brand new or anything. And seriously, you've gone through so much trouble to get this thing off. Take your time. I think I probably easily spent 15 to 20 minutes or more on this. I realized holding that butterfly open with both hands, they're kind of in the way. So there's a lever on the outside, you can hold it, but I will tell you that spring gets really heavy after a while. You know, normally it's your foot on the accelerator pulling the cable that moves the spring, and just using your fingers is a little tough. But yeah, just go all out. Be completely obsessive to clean it. And then the plenum, I really didn't use the WD-40. I just tried to wipe it all down. I don't know. I just was kind of afraid that I used too much of the WD-40, it might attract dirt, but honestly, there shouldn't be any dirt in this thing anyway, as long as I keep the air filter clean. Well, that being said, if you do start to find an excessive amount of oil in your plenum, you might need to change out your air oil separator. You shouldn't really see an excessive amount of oil there. Before I reinstalled, I thought this was a really good opportunity to get underneath the throttle body and air intake and suck up any loose dirt that might surrender itself to the shop vac. And then I took a clean shop towel and wiped out both right and left air intake manifolds. And one more inspection before it goes back in, just to see if I notice any extra WD-40 or any dirt along a crevice or crack that I might have missed. Not like brand new, but as clean as I felt I could get it. Now, installation is just the reverse. You plug in the two electronic connections on the first side, the rubber hose on the other side with the spring clamp, and then the battle to try to get this thing wedged between the two intake manifolds, along with the bracket on the bottom that has to go over the bolt. None of the videos that I watched before I did this showed the reinstallation, and I know why. It took way, way longer to reinstall this than it did to take it apart. So after all of that, I drove the car, and I noticed immediately that the idle speed, it would just drop down into idle and just sit there solid. There was no fluctuation or anything. Also, I don't know if it has a little quicker response on the throttle. Something's different. I don't know if that accurately describes it, but something else is different. But anyway, I drove it to work and back for 2 days, and the check engine light remained on. So I ended up disconnecting the negative on the battery, left it off for 3 to 4 hours, plugged it back in. The check engine light is off. I've driven it 2 more times to work and back, and so far the check engine light has not come back on. So I'm hoping that now the oxygen the clean, throttle body and everything is now sending the proper amount of oxygen through the car. The oxygen sensors are now reading proper oxygen levels in the exhaust, and everything is cool, and it's not going to end up costing me a bunch of money. So anyway, I'll keep you updated. But I really appreciate you guys watching. Please, if you like this video, click like. If you haven't already, please subscribe and leave me a comment. I do read all the comments. I don't always have enough time to respond to them, but I do read them and know that I do appreciate them. And anyway, guys, thanks again for watching. Bye-bye.